Here we go. Audi RS6 door handle off my own car. We're going to show you how to wrap it in one piece. Get over it. While Ryan's been sorting out his camera again, I've been cleaning the handle. So as we've always said before, we're using Avery material, so we're going to use Avery cleaner. One squirt, nothing more, nothing less. One is plenty. Just clean, clean, clean. Get all the grease out. Manufacturers love putting grease on these handles, so make sure you get it all off. Make sure you're all good to go. Now, because we're wrapping it in one piece, we're going to put a piece of knifeless tape in the center. We're using design line, so we're just going to run a line straight down the center of the handle, like so. This end isn't quite straight, so if you don't have design line, use finish line. If you don't have finish line, use a knife if you're confident. I'm just using the tape because it's the right thing to do. Knifeless tape on the handle. So we are now good to go. It's cleaned and it's taped up. So we use these little vices, little Stanley vices. They've got soft jaws, so they've got like little rubber bits that you can put in. So you can do them up and not crush or break anything. Hasn't got to be majorly tight, just enough to hold it. First of all, I'm going to show you what you don't want to do, and then we'll go on to the correct way to do it. So what you don't want to do is just lay the material on the top like that, and you sort of think to yourself, oh yeah, that's good. We'll rub that down or squeegee that down, and now I need to get around the edges, because what's going to happen is you're going to use your heat gun and you're going to warm the material up just a little bit, and you're going to have to stretch the material down around the handle like that. And what you've done there is introduced tension. So this is now hanging on for dear life. And there's tension in this material. So this is now likely to fail. Very bad. What we want to do is we want to stretch the material over the top of the handle so that it wants to naturally drop down under the handle. This is like massive. Who prepped this? Was it you? Where's my knife? Came organised. Haven't got a knife. How can you not have a knife? It's better. We're using the Avery Denison Rushing Riptide with this out the offcuts box. So what we want to do is, obviously you've cleaned it, you've prepped it, you've taped it. You want to hook the material under the edge. So you want to hook it. There's no tension in there. We're literally just hooking the material under the back of the handle. Okay? Like that. Make sure that's on there good and proper. No tension, nice and cold. You can cut that, good to go. Don't cut it yet. Right, so now we're just going to warm the material, only ever so slightly, nothing too crazy. And what we want to do is we want to pull the material over the top of the handle. Not all the way, get sort of like 3/4 and let the tension sort of, just let the material relax. So as you can see, all we're doing is laying the material down. You can then squeegee that down, but as you can see, we haven't even done the sides yet, and the material is already folding over. Again, a tiny little bit of heat, just to get that little crease out. That's that side done. Same on this side. And that's that side done. The material's pretty relaxed all the way around. This side, you're not even going to need any heat. That side, same again. Straight down, no issues. Phone's ringing. South Coast Wrapping, Matthew speaking. South Coast Wrapping, yep, speaking. We were rudely interrupted. Someone tried to sell me a card machine. I don't want a card machine. one of those calls. Cool, right, so we've done the side, we've done the top. The sides have literally just dropped in, nice and relaxed, no issues. So if you come around here, what we need to do is the end of the handle, we need to get the material. If we just edge cut that, when you come to put your end cap on, you're going to see a white line. So we just need to get the material around the corner a little bit. So again, a little bit of heat. And what I like to do is sort of like a little technique I picked up, is just stretch the material fractionally. Use a micro squeegee and just, if you don't have a micro squeegee, use your fingernail. It works just as well. And all we're going to do is just get the material over the edge of the handle. It's literally by a millimetre. That is all we're doing. Just continue to work it around. Make sure you don't get any creases. And that way, when we come to put the cap on the end of it, we know that we're good to go. New blade. So we're just going to cut down the side and over the top like that. So now our material is round the edge of the handle. So if we turn the handle over now, we can put it in that way, maybe. Might have to swap it around halfway around. What we want to do, might not even need the heat. We're just going to feed the material, not really using any tension. And all we need to do is get to that tape line. We need to get halfway through the handle. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that when the handle is in the car and it's up the right way, that the back edge of the material is under the overlap so that the water doesn't stick. Does that make sense? What's an easy way to word it? So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that the overlap is at the top, so that when the handle is in the car and it's up the right way, that the water doesn't sit on the top of the joint. If you do it bottom and then top, the water will run off. If you do the top and then the bottom, your joint will be at the top and all the water will sit on it. You don't want that. Always make sure you do the bottom first and then the top. We're going to need a little bit of heat just to get in here. We're just going to continue to push the material in until we get to our joint, and we can go over the tape line ever so slightly. There we go. And then we're just going to nick the material to make the knifeless start a bit easier. And then we're going to pull the string out. Just a little bit of heat there, I think, just to make sure that sticks down properly. Pull that out and then make sure you get both of the pieces of knifeless out. So if you haven't used knifeless tape before, what happens is when you pull the cord, you end up with two pieces of the tape. So even though it goes down as one, when the cord comes out, you end up cutting the tape in half, obviously, so you get two bits of tape. So always make sure you get the second piece out from under the wrap. So we're just going to warm the edge that we've just cut, and we're going to push that down. And if you watched our last video when Ryan was talking about sealing edges, I think that's probably what he meant. So put another piece of knifeless down just on top of the wrap. I like to use the tape where I can and just feed that in. Again, there is no tension there. It's just being relaxed. As you can see, I'm just feeding it in. In this corner here, there is some tension, and every time I sort of push it down, it wants to spring back up. So that's because this is stretched across here. So we can relief cut this to relieve some tension, and that way the material will literally just drop in. So instead of cooking it and heating it and stretching it, relief cuts work really well. As you can see how much the relief cut has let the material open up. So we can now pull the string, and then we can take this off, and I will heat the edge of this here, and we'll see how much tension is in there. So as you can see, the material hasn't wrinkled up. So we know that there is no tension in that joint, and that it will last forever, or however long the manufacturer lasts. So if you come really closely, this material actually does join really well. So there's a joint in there. Even when the hand goes in, yes, you can feel it, but it's not a horrible joint. That's that. And then basically what you need to do is just continue to work your way around the handle, just trimming up the edges. So again, new blade, you obviously can't get your knifeless tape in and around these tiny little corners, so just lightly score and trim up. Okay, and then again, just a little blast with a heat gun, push that down. That's that side done. So this side, we can take the handle out, turn it round, we can put that in there. Now what we do is we just need to work with this bit. Same sort of technique as we did on the end of the handle with the micro squeegee, or your fingernail if you don't have a micro squeegee. Just go around and feed the material over the edge of the handle. There's no tension there. Just continue to work all the way around. A little bit of heat here on the corner. Just make sure you've got the material over the edge of the handle. Again, your fingernail works really well. The micro squeegee is good, it's just a bit slower. And then what we can do is trim your blade again, go through some blades. And we're just going to trim on the back edge of the handle, like so. Again, quick blast with a heat gun. As you can see, there's no tension there whatsoever. That is one handle almost wrapped. So two things we need to do. This one's got like a little keyless entry button or pickup point. You just need to get your micro squeegee in there and make sure that's all pushed down nicely. And we also need to post heat in here and here. Because we've stretched the material, make sure you get it to a good temperature, and then get your thermostat and make sure that you're sort of at 90 plus degrees. So that bit's post heated. The handle is wrapped in one piece. What you want to do is just get a little square, stick that on there, and then you can basically just trim where you need to trim. So this handle has a plug in the end of it. So we just trim around the plug, cut out. And some people don't bother to do this, but it makes a difference, obviously. So when you open the handle, if your whole car's been wrapped and you don't do the end cap, when you open the handle, you're going to see the original colour. Make sure you wrap the end cap. So this one, as you can see, has a plug in the end of it. So you just want to feed the material in there and then trim just on top of your bit that we hooked over the edge. Job done. One complete handle. So before you subscribe to this video, some handles have this little cap as well that goes with that. So we'll show you how to do that quickly. Same technique, hook that over. I wonder if you can do it without heat. Let's try and do it without some heat. So just stretch the material over the top and obviously let it relax at the end, and then push it down either side. And the answer to that question is yes, you can do it without heat with Avery material. Not all materials will let you do that. Oracle certainly won't let you do it. And then you just need to trim. You can trim it this way if you want. Just leave a nice little bit along the bottom for you to tuck under. You can neaten up the cut in a minute. Same on the end. You just want to hook it over the edge. I'm using my fingernail this time. And then trim around the edge, like so. Turn it over. And you can just warm the edge up and fold it over. There you go. One cap, one handle. If you found this video useful, like our other ones, remember to like and subscribe. We've just hit 100 subscribers, so the channel is growing slowly. So thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. We'll continue to do what we do. We'll do some tutorials, we'll do some fun, some bloopers and things like that. We've got a C43 AMG in next week for a full matte Steck PPF install. So brand new car, full matte PPF. We haven't done any matte PPF on the channel before, so that'll be quite cool to show you guys. Remember to subscribe, remember to help us grow the channel. See you in the next one.